are back from vacation. Sadly, this is our last episode of the summer series because we are indeed back to school and doing all the things that feel less hectic like it does over summer vacation. And we're kicking it back to basics, getting back in the groove of things. So we wanted to talk about the actual reason why we talk about cybersecurity measures. What do we need to be afraid of? Or what do we need to be prepared for is the better way to say it. And so what we're going to talk about today is ransomware. Officially, ransomware is a file encrypting malware. You've probably heard about us talk about this before, that ransomware takes your data hostage. It means that cyber criminals have basically locked your files and your technology so that you can't get access to it. Because the worst part about it is that they want you to pay to get access again, ransom. But even if ransom is paid, it's not guaranteed that the bad guys are going to give you back what you need. So you may be thinking, oh my gosh, that's so terrible. But it only happens to the big guys because they're the ones with the good stuff. And unfortunately, that's just not true. They're coming for the most likely targets. A lot of small businesses are vulnerable in this sense because they aren't investing or traditionally haven't invested in the comprehensive, complex security tools that have been able to prevent this kind of thing from happening. So the size of your organization doesn't necessarily mean that you're free from attack. In fact, if you're a small business, you're more likely to be a target. So, right. Michaela, how do these attacks happen?
Well, in today's very sophisticated digital world, while the new technology and everything we have is great, the hackers have also gotten pretty smart, and they've learned to take advantage of all these new technologies for themselves in the bad way. So these attacks are now often designed to spread over an entire network or database, which can very, very quickly affect your entire organization and even, stop your ability to keep your team working. So that sounds very scary. How do they make this happen? So obviously every attack looks a little bit different in nature, but there's three basic, core stages that pretty much happen in every attack. So stage one is gaining access and infection. So to start off, the hacker has to gain access to your system to try and encrypt your files in some way. The most common method this happens is through phishing emails, which you have definitely heard us talk about before and seen Marissa do that same move multiple times. But they can be really sneaky, and the files and malicious links found in those emails can be very detrimental to your business if you don't know what to look out for. In the short amount of time that it takes you to click on and interact with an email, in that same amount of time, the hacker can get into your system and encrypt your files just like that. And we have quite a few blogs and videos on what to look out for in phishing emails. So if you're curious about what they might look like, you can check those out. Stage two is the actual data encryption. So the hacker has now gained access into your system or your network, and they're going to lock up your files. So your original files can quickly be replaced with the encrypted versions, which would obviously then allow you not to have any more access because you don't have the code. The hacker is the only one that then controls those files. And sometimes, if they're really smart and sneaky, hackers will try and find your backup files within your system so that they can get rid of those, so it takes you even longer to recover. So very sneaky there. The third stage is the ransom demand, the worst part. So once your files are encrypted, they're on lockdown, the hacker has full control, and now they're demanding that you pay a ransom that is usually not very cheap in exchange for access to all of your files again. But as Marissa mentioned, that's not always very reliable. Just because you pay the ransom doesn't mean you're getting everything back.
It sure doesn't. So we know what it is. And we know how it works. Michaela, can you tell us how to avoid it?
I surely can. And sometimes I feel like a broken record saying this, but backups, and even more backups. They are so important and so helpful to your organization, especially when it comes to ransomware. Making sure that your files are not only being backed up frequently, but also automatically, so that it's getting everything that your organization is putting in and making sure that it's being backed up properly, and preventing valuable data from being lost in an attack such as this one. And like I just mentioned, since these hackers try and get any backup files that they might find in order to try and stall your recovery process, it's pretty smart to store a backup copy off-site so that it can't be found in the attack while they're in there messing with all your files. So you want to have it hidden away in another location. And of course, you not only have to have these backups in place, but you have to test them to make sure that they're working properly, they're backing up what you need them to, and you're not stuck thinking you have a backup, but then in times of need, you're not really backing up what you needed to. Another way to avoid these ransomware attacks is help keep your team equipped with the right knowledge so that they can then participate in your organization's defense. End users and your team members are the number one target for hackers because they know that if they get through to them, they then have access to pretty much the entire organization. And having regularly held security awareness trainings and giving tech tips and supplying your team with that information can help your team feel really confident in spotting these potential threats and ultimately save your organization a lot of time and money if they're ready to fight off those potential threats. Another tip is to make sure your systems are regularly updated and patched. So security updates are put out to fix vulnerabilities and issues that are found in your software, and making sure that your systems stay up to date help to keep out these potential threats that have been found. So making sure that they're on automatic updates and you're not clicking the remind me tomorrow or whatever, for 3 weeks straight. Making sure you're doing it on a regular cadence is super important to keeping your systems up to date. And finally, investing in a robust antivirus solution. So having this type of solution in place can, one, prevent any threats that are known from entering into your system. So things that have been spotted and identified, it's going to prevent those from coming in. And also, the more sophisticated unknown threats, these solutions can help minimize the damage done if they were to get into your system. And of course, none of these tips can completely eliminate the risk of a ransomware attack, but by taking precautionary steps to try and set your organization up for success can really decrease the risk and help your organization recover as quickly as possible in the event of an attack. Thanks for joining us today for our summer series on vacation, and we will see you next time.
See you soon.